Hey guys, this is my first YouTube video. Yay! Well, I am also trying to get into the nursing program, and I'm currently taking a couple of nursing prerequisites. And so far, I've done anatomy and physiology 1, microbiology, and I've done nutrition, and I just have anatomy 2 left, and I think it's physiology. Anyway. So for me, a lot of times I think like a lot of students like us usually underestimate the importance of actually going to class. But for me, I realized that actually going to class is like a huge deal, and that's because like when you're in class, you're able to you're able to hear what the teacher is saying, and you're able to also write notes down. Because for me, I remember a lot of times when teachers, just being in class and being present and listening has really helped me, because sometimes some of these teachers, when they have a way of indirectly telling you what's going to be out on the exam. So for example, I've noticed that my teachers, 99% of the time, when they always emphasize on something, when they always emphasize on a topic, or let's say like a paraphrase, or let's say a question, that usually comes out in the exam. So I mean, you wouldn't get that if you weren't in class, right? And I think another thing is that has helped me, and that huge shift that has helped me for my microbiology class and also for my nutrition class, and thankfully I got A's in both of them. Yay! So yeah, I got A's. I got an A in my microbiology class. Whew! That class was a hot mess. It was so difficult. But I think if I share these tips with you, you'd be able to, hopefully do as good as as getting an A or, a B. For me, I stuck with, there are a lot of things that I did, but I think what really helped me was, first of all, I stuck with the review sheet. So a lot of times the professors usually give out review sheets for the classes, before your exam. My professor, I remember, always handed us our review sheet for the exam, like a couple of days, or sometimes some of them give you like a week before your exam. And so you want to make sure that you study that review sheet, like study it like it's your life. That's what I did. What worked for me is I answered every question on that review sheet, and I studied and memorize what I could memorize, and study what I could study, and learn what I can learn. And also using flashcards. Oh my God, I cannot underestimate the importance of using flashcards. Some people say it doesn't work, but for me, I realized that having these flashcards really help. And plus, who wants to carry a 5-pound textbook? You know how those nursing books are, usually this big. And for example, my microbiology textbook was huge, and I'm not going to be carrying that around. But just having my questions answered on my flashcards helped me a lot, because here's what happened. I was able to just take my flashcards with me wherever I wanted to go. So for example, I could be waiting in line for my coffee, and I have my flashcards with me. So that unbearable, usually frustrating 5 minutes or 2 minutes, that you have to wait in line for coffee, for your cup of coffee or tea or whatever, you don't have to spend whining because you're waiting for your turn. You can just spend that 5 minutes studying. You could be in the salon, you could be doing your hair, you could be wherever you are shopping. It doesn't matter. Just having the flashcards with you all the time, it helps. And another thing that I did with my flashcards is, not only did I have them with me all the time, I also had, my little sister or brother or someone, your partner, whoever, sort of quiz you on this thing. So you can study them, and then have someone say, okay, what's this? So for me, I had my flashcards. I answered to all the questions that were on my review sheets, whichever exam review sheet my professor would give me. I would answer everything on the flashcard. So on one side of the flashcards, I wrote out the questions, and then on the other side of the flashcards, I would write the answers, right? And so I'd study that, and then I'd have somebody else quiz me on it. So you can be like, oh, on the front of the card would be the question, and then behind the card would have the answer, just so you don't sneak up and try to cheat. I'd also say, so using Flash. So far we've talked about using the study guide for exam. The study guide is really, really important. If you are lucky enough, and a lot of these professors will hand out study guide, please, 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 please use your study guide. Do not turn into a superhero, or you want to study the entire textbook, because guess what? We don't have time. Like, I don't know about you, but I go to school, I do my prereqs, and I also work, and I come home and I also have other stuff to do. So I really, really do not have all the time on my hands to plus almost to sit and study a whole book for an exam, right? So if your professor is kind enough, and most of them are, they will give you a study guide, and that's where a bulk of your questions in your exams will be. So you just study for the study guide. Use the study guide every time, which is what worked for me. In my micro class, every time he gave us a study guide, we had 3 exams we had 3 exams and a final, so he would always give us a study guide. And so using the study guide, I realized that I was able to narrow down my questions, and narrow down what I had to study, and narrow down the specific topics that you have to study, because it's not cool studying the entire textbook and it's not an exam. I mean, if he gives you a study guide, then use your study guide. Use the flashcards. So the third thing that worked for me is you need to also find out what type of learner are you. There are people who are visual learners. There are people who they say are audio. They have to hear these things. And for me, I found out that I really do like to read. So I think I fall under the category of a visual learner. So I gotta have to see the things, I have to see the words, I have to read it, and I have to get it. Depending on the topic, sometimes reading helps, sometimes reading doesn't help. Sometimes I need to watch videos. So that's actually the third thing that you can use is if something isn't working for you reading it, maybe sometimes you need to watch videos. So go on YouTube. There are tons. Trust me, there are tons and tons and tons of resources that are on YouTube that you can use, videos that you can use that can really help you. I noticed, I remember when I was taking Anatomy 1, and we were doing, the action potential, and, everything, muscle contraction, calcium, vesicles, all that stuff. And so I remember not getting it when I was reading. I was just like, what is this? I don't get it. I just don't get it. But I remember going on YouTube and just typing in action potential in the muscle contraction. And there are videos that would show you how it works, like when the calcium is released from the vesicles, and all that stuff. And just seeing the videos and watching it, literally you can see different colors, and that they would identify that as like a calcium and whatever. That really works. So if you're not somebody who likes to read things, and you'd like to rather engage yourself in watching videos, I'd suggest you try YouTube. And that would be something that can help. But the other thing that also helped me is Quizlet. Guys, I will tell you, Quizlet.com. I'll put a link down below for Quizlet. It's amazing. The reason that Quizlet helped me was because it has different questions based on different topics, and you can literally go in there, type in the book you have, and it gives you questions on every chapter, and they usually really, really do help. Those are my study tips, and if you have any questions, you can leave them down below, and if you have any comments, also leave below. And like I said, I just wanted to do this video to be able to help somebody out there who is struggling with their prerequisites, need some question, they need guidance, they need inspiration, they need anything. Just if you have any questions about prerequisites and how to pass and what to study and how to study, if you have more questions, just leave them below. I'll definitely answer your questions. And if you have any tips for me too, because I have Anatomy and Physiology 2, which I already registered and will be taking it in September. So if you have any other tips for me, just let me know, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.